We were very raw. We had just the emotion of playing for India. बस कुछ भी करके इंडिया का खेलना, and there was that commitment. Today, because I'm on television, I'm on billboards, I'm on brands, I endorse brands, people are able to associate Mithali with a face.
What happened on 8th June 2022 at 2:06 in the afternoon? Sportsperson like Sania Mirza or Saina Nehwal or PV Sindhu, they get written about more than the women's cricketer.
Journalist, for some reason, doesn't like an athlete. The narrative is very different.
Don't you think that a very, very focused approach should be there to create an ecosystem for producing champions?
There are also some girls who I've come across. They say like, Didi, school में तो कोई नहीं है हमारा, हम खेलना चाहते हैं लेकिन boys team में लेते नहीं है.
The slight difference between you can win and you will win. In the huddle, do you tell your team members that let's go and fight, or you tell them let's go and win?
The purpose of you being in the tournament, that you've come to win.
Welcome to Duologue, Mithali. Good to see you. I'm an eternal optimist, and I think India would surely attain the Vishwaguru status once again. Mm-hmm. And sports could be one of the levers. If you look at China, right, besides being the manufacturing hub, their excellence in sports also played a role in their perception building. I mean, if you see Olympics, they are mostly in the top 2 or 3. 2008, I think they were the number 1 in the medals tally. And interestingly, both for China and US, the medals tally, it has mostly been led by women in Olympics. Back home in India, the sporting glory that's coming to our country are being led by the women again. The recent to the World Cup hockey, the under-19 cricket, women took charge. And it's a sense of great pride for me when I think that India is ascending up in the global ladder, in the global head table. And women are going to be the torchbearer. And you, Mithali, you're in the same league as the greats like Tendulkar, Dravid, Ganguly, Dhoni. I can't think of another stronger shoulder than yours. Who could lead the charge in India's quest for sporting glory? So welcome to Duologue in that note.
Thank you.
You hold many records, right? Do you ever keep count of the records? Highest run scorer,
yeah.
Right? I don't think the record is going to be broken in next 5 years at least. The longest playing cricketer, including men and women put together. Your one day, I think, the average is even better than that of Dhoni's. Are you emotionally attached to these records?
See, I think when you have such a long career, you're bound to stumble on some milestones. As an individual player, I'm happy that I was able to achieve all that. But cricket is a team sport. And despite being, part of 6 World Cups that I've played, I couldn't get anywhere closer to the trophy. And that probably is one thing is missing in my cabin. Having said that, now I don't have any regrets that I was not able to get my hands on the trophy. I've given everything that I could to the sport. And the sport has been very kind. That I've started when people didn't know about women's cricket or women cricketers, to a point where now women's cricket is one of the sort of the women's sport globally.
Definitely.
So to see the sport evolve over the years and to play a role during that evolution, I think very few cricketers can actually put their hand up and say they were very lucky to be part of that evolution, and I'm one of them. But to see the game where it is today, I'm just very grateful that I had an opportunity to play a small part in that.
No, you played a significant part. Cricket is such a sport. Again, I might be completely wrong. You can correct me. In some way, you're on your own. I can't think of any other team sport where you are actually fighting the battle all by yourself, especially if you're a batswoman. The only other example in soccer could be tiebreaker, where the person is on his own. So in some way, despite being a team sport, it is also an individual.
Yes, I agree to that, yes.
Right. So while you said that you're part of the journey, obviously your contribution is extremely significant. But Did it ever, if there was a choice ever, I don't think the choice ever comes, but if there was a choice ever, team's glory or your personal century, which one would you have chosen?
You can have many centuries to your credit, but to be part of a winning World Cup squad or leading a team to the World Cup as a champion, that is a rarity. And I would always pick that.
The question is very well answered because there are many innings that you can play, but in your lifetime, you possibly can win 1 or 2 World Cup finals. You hold so many records, right? In some way, you outshine your male counterparts. Despite that, the male cricketers walk away with more of fame, money, popularity. Does it ever bother you that? Do you feel that it's not that fair to you?
I personally have never got that thought through my mind because there was so much happening around me that I never got to thinking that, a large chunk of it goes to the men cricketers and there's hardly anything which comes our way. But when I am around my teammates, there are many players who are vocal about that indifference from the society. And then I start to think, why we also put in the same number of hours. We play the sport, the rules are the same, and the formats are pretty much the same. So why there is an indifference? But there are many factors to it that earlier it wasn't a viable sport, it wasn't televised, and people were ignorant about women playing cricket. We don't get to see girls playing in the street. It's always the boys picking up the bat and the ball. So it is very natural for many people to even comprehend that women started cricket much before men. That's the history.
I'm told that Women World Cup happened before the Men's World Cup, 1973.
Yeah. So even when I was young, when I started, I didn't know we had an Indian team. I didn't know about Shanta Rangaswamy or Diana Edulji. Only when I started to play the senior level, that's when I was introduced to all these legends through my senior players. So that was the scenario back then. But I'm sure it is not the case now. When you get to see Smriti or Harman, or for that matter, Shefali leading the side in the Under-19 World Cup, getting to see them play on television. Young girls are no more ignorant about, okay, the sport is only for boys or only for my brother. I can also play the sport. I also have an opportunity to represent India. And so likewise, even for parents, they can actually see the sport where their daughter also can play. So
it's a metaphor. So sports is a metaphor, I think. I think that applies to many aspects of our society, which was once considered to be very safely placed for the guys. Now that equality
Isn't that what, in general, even in India, the sport way back in the 80s and early 90s was only for men, just not cricket. I'm talking about
absolutely.
Other disciplines as well.
It still is. I mean, there was a survey, I will come to that, where the survey respondents, BBC did a survey, said apparently 33% of the respondents felt that sports is not for women, even today. We'll come to that. Now, as you said that popularity has come in, money has come in, you now are a star. It's no more the days where people would have known the names of women cricketer. Now they know the faces of women cricketer. So you are a celebrity in your own right now. So has the stardom affected you? Did you like it personally? Did it have any effect on your performance in the team? Were you more charged up? Were the challenges more? And personally, somewhere back of your mind, you felt it's nice to be known.
See, ironically, most of my peak days or peak years, you can call that, was in the obscurity. People didn't know, like when I broke the world record, 214 in 2002. I don't have a video clipping or a video of that. And people haven't seen me play for a long time.
There's another milestone innings that has changed the course of Indian cricket. Also, there was no recording for that 175 by Kapil Dev against Zimbabwe, 1983 World Cup. BBC was on strike or something. So don't feel left alone.
Okay. Well, Kapil Dev won the World Cup.
Yeah, right. But you came very close to it. But I'm saying the significance of those two innings, to my mind, are almost comparable.
So when the stardom came, it came like a jolt. because I'm used to playing in empty stadium grounds. Sometimes maybe the parents or friends of players who would turn up. I remember 2005 when we were runners up in the World Cup. We came to just few bouquets at the airport. And when the 2017 World Cup happened, and what followed after that, at least personally for me, uh, it took time to accept that, okay, this is my life. This is going to be my life where probably I will not get my me time, which I had lots of it in the past. And I used to, I used to be, everybody wanted a pound of flesh post the 2017 World Cup. And I remember my mother saying, I don't get to see my daughter at all at home. So I said, this is what you wanted. So, it took us a while as a family to come around and accept that this is what stardom is. And it comes at a cost. People think it is all very happy,
No, it comes at a
lights,
cost.
limelight, and everything. But it is hard work. And it also takes a lot out of a person to always be at their best, because we are humans. And there is always a tendency that sometimes you're not in a very good mood, or you're coming from an argument and you have to be presentable for people because you're the ambassador of the sport. You have a responsibility because you're a celebrity. But at the end of the day, people forget we are humans. We all have emotions. We all go through that.
Talking about youngsters, Mithali, I feel that today's youngsters, the young generation, especially in the era of social media, mobile penetration, I keep thinking that the two other qualities that they are missing, their focus and their commitment in general in the society. You have captained two teams, one in 2005 and one in 2017. And I believe that many of the players belong to two different generations who played under you.
Yeah.
So do you see the changes in the youngsters, in their approach, in their commitment?
Huge. Not, I would say that that era of cricketers were very passionate, very hardworking. They played sport when there was absolutely nothing in the sport, not even a penny in the sport. So it was completely dominated by the emotions of the passion that they felt to play for India and the sport. Today's generation, they are hardworking as well, talented. Uh, they have a lot of exposure. They are not very raw when they are in the teens. We were very raw. We had that, just the emotion of playing for India. बस India को खेलना है, कुछ भी करके India को खेलना है, and there was that commitment. Today, with the digital platform, the fame and the spotlight that every other teenager or an athlete would want, or basically everybody, they feel that they want to achieve things overnight.
Yeah, so they want to be
There
smart.
is not a process to it. Earlier, there was like a structured process. You slowly graduate from one level to the other. Now they want it within a week or within as
So
soon as.
shortcut, I mean,
Yeah.
that's there.
They just want it because maybe they feel that there is so much happening in sports.
Not only sports, so much happening in life. With the touch of a screen, the whole world is there in front of them, which was not the case when you started
Well, I
playing.
feel that it has a lot to do with the validation, attention that one wants to have in today's world. You don't speak to certain people for a few days or few weeks. They feel left out. And that is so much in today's society that everything that you do should be validated by somebody out there. Otherwise, it has no meaning, which was not the case in the past. I remember as a youngster, I wouldn't even utter a word in front of my seniors. Whatever they said was like, you have to do it. Recently, there was one youngster who came into the team, and she didn't wink. She didn't even take a little bit of time to say that, Didi, chalo, I'll buy you a coffee. It should be the other way around. The senior is taking the youngster out for a cup of coffee to make things more comfortable for a conversation. But here it was, I think that was a change.
That exactly is a change. I think, yeah, they're more outgoing, more smarter, and they don't give you the edge just because you're older than them. So maybe the seniority counts less these days. In life also, I see. So you are normally very not comfortable with social media. I've heard you saying that how your teammates now, they go on the social media even before something happens and you still have that hesitation.
There's always this, whenever we take a group picture, I would like think what caption should I do it. So I would take a day. By then they already posted it with the caption and they have all the likes, and then had nothing else but to retweet it or reshare it. So that backward I am among them when it comes to this platform.
Yes, but what happened on 8th June 2022 at 2:06 in the afternoon? Why did you announce your retirement on social media?
Honestly, even before, when we finished the 2017 World Cup, I thought I would take retirement then and probably play another year or so and then call it off. But as I started, I continued playing, and pandemic happened. So we were all at home for a year, roughly a year, more than
almost
a year.
yeah.
Yeah. So then I realized that during that year, I did spend a lot of time training my body and the mental aspect of it. And I felt that I can give it a go playing the 2020. It was a 2021 World Cup, which was postponed to 22. So I said, okay, now for me, the mission is 2022. So the World Cup was a mission for me. I decided maybe in 2019 that I'm going to aim to play the 2022 World Cup. And I didn't plan post 2022. But I was sure in my mind that whatever my priorities were circled around the World Cup. So when the World Cup happened, and of course, the way we came out of the World Cup, we didn't qualify for the knockouts. It was quite disheartening and a disappointment. And I didn't feel the need to take a call when I was going through the emotions of the World Cup. So I took time to deal with it. And then I went to the domestic tournament to see if I still have the passion in me to pick up a bat and
You
bat.
had always been quite regular with domestic
Yes,
cricket.
I would never miss that if
You'd
I'm
never
there
miss, yeah.
in India. And I went to the tournament and I realized that I just didn't feel like picking up the bat. It was a coach who said, like, go train because you have to play the tournament. So that was the moment where I felt, okay, I have nothing to give to the sport. I've done everything that I
Did you
could.
discuss with anyone before that, before sending out that tweet on the social
Yeah,
media?
I always do with my father and a couple of my very close friends from the circuit. And they were like, you still can play a year. But my dad was very different. He knew me from the beginning. He said, if you've taken a call, then you really have given it a good thought. So do what you think is right. And I felt like there is no point. I could have played another year, but it would not serve the purpose. And I don't want to sort of pollute the sanctity of the notion that sport have in my heart, in my mind, the passion that I've played for so many years. And so I thought this is the right time to.
Do you think that it's just women cricket is just taking off now?
It will only grow from strength to strength. We've seen ICC, got women's cricket into Commonwealth Games, trying to take the sport to those non-cricketing countries as well. So in some way, we are trying to develop women's cricket team in all other countries where girls want to take up the sport.
Yeah, it's this is a good beginning according to me, this BCCI steps and this IPL. But I believe that there will have to be concerted and consistent effort as to create an ecosystem to really fuel this opportunity and then build from here women's cricket. So this is a good beginning. And the astonishing figures, right? You're talking about 1,000 crore almost for television rights. Yeah. The IPL team, your team possibly is the costliest team, almost 1,300
good,
crores. No, it feels definitely good. But do you ever feel that you made your debut about 23 years too early? I mean, this is the time.
I was asked this question many times when when BCCI got the pay parity and the WPL. But as I said before, that if I would think in that sense, it would be a little not so good thinking, I would say, because I was born in a different era. And my role, as I said, was of a different thing for women's cricket. Maybe I was destined to play the role of bridging that era with the current era. And grateful that I got to play that role.
The few things which make difference. The first is the quality of the game that will make a difference. Then the pomp and show, like how much of glitz and glamour, how good coverage is the thing. And then, most importantly, possibly marketing and awareness. Do you think that the fact that the women's cricket uh, is, in terms of strength, stamina, endurance, would lack always a little bit from the men's, from their counterpart? Like, let's say, the fastest bowler in men's cricket bowls at 160 kilometer per hour, which is maybe about 130 for women's cricket. So do you think that will come in as a challenge in terms of viewership?
I think that is slowly changing because with the inception of T20 format, the players now understand the importance of power hitting. And so, if you want to be a power hitter, you have to work on your strength. You have to develop muscles. But yes, again, I would say in comparison to men, we
That's
will
right.
always be a little less. But if you have to take women's cricket on its own, a women cricketer, then you see the Australian players. Recently, I've seen the India Australia home series where they were chasing around 160, 170. There was one player who came, was only whacking the ball out of the park at ease. She is definitely strong, muscular. So I think every other player now will be looking forward. If that is the game that they have to set a standard, they'll have to work on their strength.
Fortunately, there's some survey. I was told that only 15% respondent had said that skill and physicality would influence their choice or their choice of watching women's cricket on television. So it's only 15%. And majority of them, a whopping close to 50%, felt that the factor that would influence viewership of women's cricket are the marketing and awareness. So that
Yes. Yeah. I also agree to that because if you have a very important series and then people don't know that there is an international game happening, then how are you going to
absolutely.
attract people to come to the stadium and watch you play, or watch turn on the channel and watch them play? So marketing is very, very important because that difference I did feel in the past. Despite playing in good international stadiums, when you don't have a hoarding to promote the international series, then nobody knows that, okay, next door there's an international game happening.
Do you feel that media has gone wrong as in some way as far as the women's cricket is concerned? Like, let's say that sportsperson like Sania Mirza or Saina Nehwal or PV Sindhu, they get written about more than the women's cricketer. Do you feel that there was a wrong end that you belong to, being a women cricketer?
See, media has a very big role to play when it comes to women's sport and writing about women athletes and their performances and their accomplishments. But I also feel that it has two takes to it, two sides to it. In today's time, what I see reading the articles is that if a journalist has any liking towards an athlete, if they happen to be their favorite athlete, that they look up to, the narrative of the article is very sweet, despite there could be certain facts that they ignore. But if the journalist for some reason doesn't like an athlete, the narrative is very different, and that does impact, because a general public doesn't really look into what has happened in 1 year's time or 2 years' time. And they happen to read that article and they form an opinion based on the version of a journalist.
Let's talk about women in general in sports, not only in cricket. Do you feel our society is conducive enough to encourage women to come into sport?
I think now that is changing. There are many disciplines that parents are okay to enroll their daughters into sports and make a career out of it. Where I started playing in an academy, when I started, I was the only girl.
Only girl in the
Yeah,
academy,
and then over a period of time, in the recent times, I've seen there are at least minimum 70 to 90 girls who come round the year. And there is, of course, an addition during the summer vacation. So I think definitely that part has changed over the years, and the society is more acceptable towards girls or women taking up sports as a career.
Yeah, thankfully so. Even then, there's a study BBC has done recently where they said about 42% men play something, get into sports, compared to about 29% for women. And 33% respondent felt that women should not get into sports because it's not suitable for their health. etc., etc. So it has to change, and good that it is changing, and you feel that it's changing.
There are also some girls who I've come across. They say like, दीदी स्कूल में तो कोई नहीं है हमारा, हम खेलना चाहते हैं लेकिन बॉयज टीम में लेते नहीं है, और लड़कियां उतनी है नहीं कि हम एक टीम बना सकते हैं, तो हम कहाँ खेलें?
It'll change,
So
definitely it'll
I
change.
think somewhere even at that level, we need to have the schools encouraging girls to take up sports.
Now, coming to this ecosystem of producing champion, I believe two of the sports other than cricket that India had produced champions more in badminton, also to a large extent in wrestling. Um, don't you think that that a separate, a very, very focused approach should be there to create an ecosystem for producing champions? And then, as you rightly said, that when it comes to women, do you think the approach to create this ecosystem would be different compared to men?
See, if we are going to just talk about creating an ecosystem for women, then somewhere again we are limiting ourselves in the thought process that the women don't have the facility. Why don't we just look at sports as a
Gender neutral.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So it has to come from a level where young children go to learn, school. That's where we educate them. That's where the school has to say, when it comes to sport, there is no boys and girls. The girls are okay to play with the boys are okay to play with the girls.
One of the other aspects, I think, which has some kind of a discrimination, I still feel the element of discrimination is still there, which is in terms of remuneration or pay. If you take football, Ronaldo gets about $170 million every year. And the best soccer player, who is a woman, who is Sam Kerr, as against $170 million, she just bagged a contract for 500,000 US dollar per annum. So this kind of parity in remuneration, parity in reward will have to come in. But don't you think that that's still a long way away? Not in cricket. Cricket, BCCI has taken a very, very right step. But elsewhere, as I've just given an example of European soccer.
See, when it comes to the revenue that an athlete generates through the brands, you can't really talk much there, because then the brands have their own factors to look into. But the federations or the organization or the body that runs the sport in their country, again, we talk about marketing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a huge thing when you want to get revenue into the sport. So why BCCI is able to have a pay parity now is because for a long time the team has been doing well, and they have gradually started to market it. Because the team is giving results, the marketing helped to get people to come and watch, or probably view it on any platform on television. And that's how you got digital rights, or media rights. The other federations also need to do that. Marketing is huge when you want to promote the sport, and especially when it comes to women's sport.
Yes, and then that remuneration, parity in remuneration reward should also be there. We've recently seen some developments in wrestling in India, where some of the players have come together and accused the administrator of sexual misconduct. Do you feel that there are challenges off field, not only on field, that women sportsperson have to face?
See, thankfully, we don't have any such incidents taking place in women's cricket. But it is very sad if that has happened, in that sport. But we've also seen many athletes, say the gymnast, she also came out openly about sexual harassment happened in their field. I think it definitely is one of those challenges that women probably has to face as women athletes, because somewhere they do have to interact with the male officials.
It's sad. It's very sad that in today's 21st century also, we men not always know how to conduct ourselves.
Well, it is challenging for a fact that, whenever such things come out, we are always questioning from, who's right, what's the real
that's
story.
separate.
Of course, that is separate. But Why do we have to? I would say that when it comes to sport, why do people have to go through such kind of incidents? It's a sport, and an athlete is working very hard to achieve or win a gold medal, and there is so much goes into an athlete's mind. Every other thing, there is the nutrition, the performance, the emotional side of it, the mental challenges, the physical challenges, and then one has to face this challenge as well.
You've got two advantages, if you ask me. One, you have an independent mind. You think your clarity of thoughts impresses me. The other one is that you had been a leader. You had been a captain. So captaincy, there's that one common thing that possibly you and I have. Though I had been a sports lover, I've played a lot of games, a lot of sports, not at the level that you played. But coincidentally, I represented the country in one sport. I was part of the junior national team in bridge. So that was when I was in college. But in the leadership, if you have to talk about leadership, Mithali, what is that leadership quality that you think which gave you that edge while you were leading the team? What did you do as a leader?
I believe the style of my leadership is walk the talk. I would do what I would want my team to do. So first, as a leader, I would want to do that and say that, okay, this is possible. And I would want my players to follow suit. And that is where you earn respect, because I don't think any of us would follow a leader who doesn't set an example. And
Correct.
that is
You
the
command
best
respect.
way to gain respect of your teammates. And that's also the best way to influence them. So times when we have a long journey and we have to be on time for training, I would be the first person, maybe 10 minutes early. So they know the captain is there. So we have to be there. So these are the smaller things that even a young player, when they come into the team for the first time, they're always very observant. As a young player, when I would be observing what my seniors are doing. So if you are setting a culture, a standard of how you carry yourself on the field and off the field, that is something all your teammates will look up to you.
In the context, I must tell you as a leader what I do, if you could relate with it, that as a leader, one of the main responsibility that I have is that I have to make decisions. I have to take calls. And that even you had to do. You are the one who is taking decisions. Then the other one is that, I'll have to give them the guidance, the roadmap, and I have to step in when they fall short of what's expected out of them. And then another important thing, which possibly you just now said that you did that by example, that as leaders in corporate world, we manage men.
Mhm.
So management is nothing but managing men. So you got to manage people, which is what you said, that you got to motivate people to give their best onto them. But you had an advantage that you were in touch with all your team members. So in a corporate world, we always don't have that. We never have that advantage that we have. We are in touch
But then
with
how
all.
do you then be a very effective leader? What are the things that you would do if you're not able to be in touch with your team? Like here, obviously, I have them during the camp on the field training. But say you just said that don't necessarily have them around. Don't you think that can sometimes breed um, things not so great for a team environment? And how do you, as a leader, then manage things?
So what happens, like unlike in your field, where the leader and the rest of the team, in corporate world, you have hierarchies. So there are the set of people reporting to some person who's their leader, immediate leader. Then the leader would have, then there's another set of leaders would report to another leader who would be their leading boss. And then finally, so that's how we make these steps, we make this corporate organogram. Tell me something, how do you draw that line, that the slight difference between you can win and you will win?
I tell them to put in efforts, to give their best, in whatever way that they can give their best. Not everybody are skillful, not everybody are emotionally there. Everybody have their own demons that we have to fight on the field. The fear or performance anxiety, whatever it is. But Everybody's best is important. You put in the effort.
Okay, so you don't really tell your team to go and win, but you tell your team
We
to
have that notion when we arrive into a tournament, not during the match.
not
Because what
during the
happens
match.
is
Okay,
during the
excellent.
match, you need to focus on
Your performance.
playing to the situation, because what is right there, that is what is taught to us. You got to be in the moment, and in the moment is when you are batting, you have to play according to the situation. Or if you are a bowling side, you know that the batters are having a partnership and how to break that. If you constantly think we have to win, we have to win, you wouldn't do exactly what is supposed to be done at that moment, which can then take you to the result.
So you play by the moment, overcome the challenges that they come to you,
Yes.
but you know that what's
But
the
yes,
end game.
the purpose of you being in the tournament, that you've come to win, not
That's
to participate.
excellent. So is there a distinction that you can make as a leader and as a role model? What's the difference between arrogance and confidence? Where is it a blurring line, or there is a line which one crosses over to turn into an arrogant individual from a confident individual?
See, confidence is you still have that little bit of nerves. You've prepared well, and there's still that jittery feeling before getting into bat, like what will happen. Yeah, I will do my best. You're sort of talking to yourself, I've prepared well, I'm going to do my best. And you still have those butterflies, that's confidence. But if you don't feel that, and you think that I'm anyway going to go and do score runs, so that is overconfidence. That is probably I wouldn't say arrogance, but overconfidence. And that usually happens when I did go through that as well in one of those early years. I remember scoring 100 in one of the zonal tournaments, and the next day, immediately the following day, we had a game. So since I scored 100 the other day, I thought I'm going to middle the ball anyways, and I got out on the first ball.
Really?
Yeah. And that is when I realized that what you do today, it doesn't matter tomorrow. It's done for today. It's
It's a
history.
fresh day
It's a
tomorrow.
fresh day. It's a fresh opponent. Everything is fresh. You again have to start from zero.
What was your reaction? Like, again, I would like tend to mention two examples. Like Dhoni was very composed on the field. It always been as a captain, very limited expressions of emotions. Compared to that, Virat as a captain is completely the opposite. When you captain, what was your natural self, and did you have to work hard not to display your natural self and to conduct yourself in a particular way on the field?
My natural self is, I give a very composed outer look, though inside I know there are so many things running in my mind. There are times even I would know, like, what's going to happen. I'm full of nerves, but I would try and camouflage my appearance because that is needed for your own teammates. Because when the things go the other way, like, when it is tough on the field or in a tournament, players look up to the captain. They're always looking at you, even during on the game, during the match. And if you're going to let out your emotions and play to it, then how are you going to motivate them? Because as you rightly said, what I am as a captain is what I would want my team to be. So if I have to set an example, I have to project like everything is fine, everything is in my control.
Cricket is a team game, but it's the individual contributions count a lot. Let's say recently Pat Cummins was criticized by Aussie media when he declared, and Osman Khawaja was about to get his double hundred. I think similar thing happened when I think Dravid declared when Tendulkar was at 196. You yourself has expressed somewhere that when you got out at 94 and your colleague got 100 and you felt jealous about it.
Yeah, it was in the under 19s. She went on to score. We used to open together, and she went on to score 100. And I was not out, but I was stranded in 94 or 96. And that day I spoke to my dad, and I told him. He's like, "Okay, you've scored good. Both of you have done well." So I said, "But she scored 100, and I've just managed to score 90. Why did I not get 100?" So that's when he said, like, as a team, you are selected to fight against the opponent, not fight against among yourself. You are not there to compete with your teammate. You're there to compete with your opponent. So that's something which he taught me very young. And I'm very happy and glad that I was able to learn to accept and be part of the success of my teammates at a very young age.
About the 2018 World Cup, right? When you were dropped from the semi-final lineup, you reacted, and you're not quite happy with the captain because she sided with the coach's decision. Looking back now that you're more mature, you've seen the world even 5 more years, that reaction of yours was could have been avoided, given the kind of character that you are, given the kind of sports personality that you are.
Well, see, that's where I think the narrative what was spun in the media was not right, was not factual. For a fact that what has conspired during that tournament and what I was miffed about is not about me getting dropped. It is about the way things happened off the field, the way I was treated. I feel that no matter whether it is a senior player or a young player, a player should be respected, whichever level they play. The basic respect that one needs to show should be shown, whether the player is in the playing 11, whether the player is a person who scored 100 or his scoring is 0. When it comes to respecting your players, it should be equal, and that is something I was unhappy about.
How did it come in the media? Did you express anything that your disgruntlement, or it just had a private talk and that had come out in the media?
My letter was leaked in the media.
Okay.
And
right.
And of course, like a lot of probably people felt like, okay, she's a big name and she's been dropped and she's making a fuss about it. So that is the basic thing that all of them picked up. Maybe a couple of journalists have written it about thinking that I didn't like the fact that I was dropped.
No, which is not absolutely.
Yeah, because that is not the fact. And it came out that when everybody latched onto that narrative.
Finally, let's come back to where I started. India in sports. I think as a nation of 1.4 billion people, personally, it pains me to see that we're rejoicing about 6-7 medals. I think I'm sure that India has set its eyes on, let's say, 50 in 2028 and 100 in 2032 Olympics. So let's say if you have to collectively as a nation go for 50 medals in Olympics. As a sports person yourself, as a sports leader yourself, do you have any approach? Do you have any thoughts about it which you would like to share with us?
Yes, to look at the single digit of the medals that we acquired cannot look big, but that is a growth, I would say, from what it was in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to increase the medal tally, as you said, we have to plan backwards. We have to identify our medal winners who can potentially be our medal winners, work on them for 2-3 years, give them the best facilities. Sometimes it probably might require us to send them abroad for good resources
Training
and facilities, and invest in them, because unless and until you invest, you won't get the result. So that is something I would say that we as a sporting nation or the federations, everybody should come together, even if it requires private funding, the corporates pitching in to help the athletes. One should, because at the end of the day, it is India gaining those medals.
Thank you, Mithali. It has been a pleasure talking to you. It was really a pleasure seeing that a lot of my mindset and belief systems, which you also possess. Thank you very much for coming on Duologue, and I wish you all the best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot.